Welcome back to our Backyard Vineyard Project. This is Chapter 9. We're going to be talking about first year pruning of the vineyard. I did not expect first year pruning to be such a heated topic. My understanding now, after talking to a lot of people, is first year pruning is really a regional issue. In my weather that we have here, in this hot climate, dry weather, it's different than people in the East Coast in Michigan, Canada, things like that, where they need a little more ventilation around the plants. So let's talk about pruning real quick. There are two trains of thought on pruning. One is, don't touch the plants. The first year you let those plants just grow, do what they want to do, and build a good root system. The second train of thought is, trim off what you don't want and allow that growth on the top to be exactly what you want it to be. Trim as much back as you can so that it spends most of its energy on growing what you want and getting a good root system. First of all, there's a couple of really good YouTube videos on what should be done for first year pruning. One is from Tom Zabadal out of the University of Michigan. He did probably 5 or 6 years ago. I put a link for his YouTube channel below. And they actually did a study and a research project over a 5-year period where they took a row of vines and didn't touch them in the first year to 2 years and just let them grow. They did another row right next to it where they actually pruned it and manicured it as they were going through. The end of the project, the end of the research they did, they determined that there was no difference on the growth of the plant whether you let it grow and do its thing or you prune it. So a lot of what I'm doing is a modification of that. I'm kind of doing a little pruning and letting it grow and letting it just do what it needs to do. There's another YouTube channel, Edge of Nowhere Farms. They're a lot like we are, except they're a little more dramatic. They're out of Arizona, and they're doing a lot more than we're doing. We're just doing a vineyard, but they did a vineyard, they did fruits, everything. And I'll put a link down below to Nowhere Farms. I really like his YouTube channel. Duane and Lori, they just let their Cabernet Sauvignon just grow, not touch it, just did its thing. And then this past February, they trimmed them back. So what I'm doing is I'm doing a modification. I'm really not touching the vines. There are some trimming and some training I'm doing, but not much. I'm letting these vines just grow. We're currently about 3.5 months since we planted these vines. We've got some fairly aggressive growth on some, not so much on others. I know why. We're working on the issues with those, but they're growing. Everything's growing really good. So let me take you over and show you what I'm doing on a couple of my plants, just to kind of get an idea of what I'm doing for pruning. This is one of the Cabernet Sauvignon vines we have. What I'm doing is once the plant actually gets up to the first catch wire, then I'm removing the vine sleeves on the bottom. The vine sleeves are really there just to keep out the rabbits, since we don't have worries about frost. And to tell you the truth, I don't know what I'm going to find when I cut it. We have found grapes in some of them. I've actually found some interesting things, but let me show you what I'm doing on these. All I'm doing is I'm cutting off the vine sleeve. And I'm cutting from around the posts we have. Let me cut the post out. Where's the post out here? Okay, so I've removed the vine sleeve. I actually take a look at the root system to make sure we're okay on the root system. But if you look on this one, so this is where I'm getting some pruning. I'm kind of removing some of the growth down here because I want to see what I've got. Some of them I had as many as 4 shoots coming up. Other ones I only have 1. If I've got 3 shoots like this one, I'm letting 3 shoots go. If I got over 3, actually I just broke one off, but if I get over 3 shoots, I'm pruning the shoots. I'm cutting the shoots off. But this one looks pretty good. I've got some nice growth off of all three shoots coming out of the scion, coming out of my Grape union right there. I kind of look and make sure I'm getting good moisture down there, so covering it back up, clean it up, and that's what I'm doing. That's the amount of pruning I'm doing. Other than that, I'm letting it grow and do what it needs to do. This plant is not bad. This again is a Cabernet Sauvignon vine. It hasn't really reached the catch wire, which is up here, but it still's got some really good growth, so I've been cutting these back and removing the sleeves. First thing I've been doing, obviously, is I've been removing the bamboo stake out. Don't really need it anymore because it's down low, so I'm taking the stake out, the bamboo stake that we put in, cutting out the fine sleeve, and then it gives me a good view of what we got down here, my watering tube. So the growth down here looks pretty good. We've got 2 shoots coming up, all the way up to almost to my catch wire. I put some organic material in here a little while ago just to help it out. I want to kind of cover it up. I've got my second drip tube. There's another drip tube right here. I've got another drip tube right there covering that. I got a drip tube here. So we're doing pretty good. Once I get it cleaned up down below, and what I've been doing also is using I've got some biodegradable string. This string in about 6 months is literally going to disintegrate. But I'm trying to help it grow straight up. So I've been wrapping each vine with a little bit of string just to kind of help it go straight up until it hits the catch wire. Once it's in the catch wire, then we're not doing too bad. But now we've got a plant that's growing up, looks really nice, as you can see. So we're ready to go on that one. So let me show you one more. Again, this one's not quite up to my catch wire. The catch wire is up here. So, but it's got some really good growth out of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove my bamboo stake and grab my scissors over here. I'm going to cut the vine sleeve off. And as I said, right here I really only did these to keep the rabbits away from the young growth. Now that it's grown up really well, the rabbits aren't going to really bother it. And if they do come in and eat a few leaves, it's not really that big a deal. So let's move this vine sleeve out. Let's see what we got down here. See, I've got an extra growth right there. I'm going to take that growth off. Looks like I got an extra one right here. I'm going to take that one off. Come on, come here, baby. There we go. Clean it up a bit. So I've got 3 on this one. I've got 3 shoots going up. Really, this shoot is really too small. Got a nice one. It's almost pencil width here. My secondary, that one's coming right from the top, which is where I really want it. So this one here, I'm going to prune it. Okay. I've got. Come on, cut off. There we go. I'm just going to cut this one off because that is really not needed at this point because I've got some really nice growth coming up out of this shoot right here. I've got a secondary shoot coming up. I got some good growth on top. So all in all, it looks pretty good. I've got a bunch of ants down here though. Ants are doing hay. They're going to cover up some mulch on top of my organic matter. And that plant looks pretty clean. And the last piece of this, as you can see, is I need to tie it up. So I'm going to use some of my old string I've got here. String. I'm going to take my string and I'm just going to wrap it around the whole bush on top, this growth. But I want to restrict the growth. I want to kind of keep it within my area here. I'm going to tie it up a little bit. All I'm doing is just making it into a little bit of a bundle, and then I actually tie it to my cordon wire, which will give me some nice growth upward now. And then it'll catch on to in the next week, it'll be up to my catch wire. But right now I've got a nice little bundle going upward. So what do you think? Think that's gonna work? To wrap up, this is the Grenache on the other side. I've removed the vine sleeves from most of them, about 75–80% I've removed the vine sleeves. And you can see the growth is doing really nicely. It's been about 3.5 months since we planted these. Some, as you can see, are all the way up to the top of the top catch wire already, which is well over 6 feet. I trimmed out the bottom down low to make sure we've got some good ventilation and growth out of the rootstock, but as you can see, we've got some good growth here. I didn't do any pruning on these on the upper side. I've just wrapped them with wire or some string. As you can see, I put some string around that one, put some string around that one. Let's see, I've got some string around that one right there, just to get it to grow straight up. That's all I'm doing with the string, is just kind of forcing it to grow straight up into the catch wire. As I said, I didn't think pruning was going to be such a controversial subject, but I actually was talking to 2 different vineyard management companies down in Temecula the last couple of weeks about the pruning. And they don't do any pruning on the vines down there either in the first year. Now their reasoning is different. The one they were working on was over 3,000 vines. And they said the reason they don't do pruning is because it costs too much. They don't need that manual labor, they just let the plants grow. So just letting them grow, as you can see, I think is what the option is. Please follow along. We'd love to have you join us, and please subscribe. We're trying to get to that subscription number, so it makes things a little more interesting for us on the YouTube channel. Love to have you join us from now on. Again, this is Jeff. Until next time, we're out.